is intimacy?
What is intimacy?
I had a very different point of view, but I always had a whole lot of questions around it because how I saw it being like done didn't match what I knew was possible. So until I came across this yumminess from the foundation manual, the foundation class in the manuals about the 5 elements of intimacy. So it was a lot of confusion as well. Like, was intimacy is so considered like something that you can only have with a partner, that is only to do with sex or copulation and body engagement. But this totally invited, like, the 5 elements of intimacy, as access consciousness invites us to, is a totally different space that you can be with yourself and that you
Yeah,
can be
that
with others around you.
that's so
What is
true.
it?
Yeah, it was well, for me, yes, intimacy, kind of like you, like, I mean, I was like, yes, this is something you do with the other person. And at the same time, and for me, intimacy was also the energy of nurturing and caring that you have with the person you're in a relationship with. And I guess the first time I read, in the foundation manual about elements of intimacy, I think my whole world was blown away, because I didn't realize that you could have intimacy with yourself. You could be that energy of nurturing and caring with yourself. So it was, yeah, it is one of my favorite topics to talk about in a foundation class.
Yeah, and how much was like intimacy, like if you are with someone, that they should understand you, they should get you, they should choose what you think that they can choose,
Yeah,
and vice versa.
yeah,
And that is so limiting and gets you like in this
yeah,
whole thing of uh, not being yourself really, like
yeah.
not being able to, like, the more you actually choose to step into, maybe we can start with, so what are the 5 elements of intimacy that we are talking about?
Yeah. Well, definitely not closeness, like physical closeness. It's just, it was just funny. Like, yeah, I mean, I used to think that intimacy was about physical proximity. But yeah, the 5 elements were like totally just, yeah, it's just interesting, like how the 5 elements of intimacy are exactly very different from what we thought they would be. So I guess honor.
Yes. So, and so we can go into each one of them,
Yeah.
but I just want to name all of them so that everyone can have them.
Yeah.
So,
I thought you were going to say trust, and then I was going to say,
yeah.
but
Oh, cool. Okay. So let's do this.
so honor,
Trust,
vulnerability,
gratitude,
allowance.
allowance. Yeah. And so, which one is your favorite?
Yay!
Yay!
5
You said it.
points.
There it
Well,
is.
yeah, I love honor. It is, I think it is on top of my list. In terms of, anything that I start with, honor is just such a beautiful energy. What is honor to you, Ina? Or what?
Honoring is like really um, getting a sense of that someone is going to choose, that what they're going to choose, it's sort of, they all sort of kind of move into one another, but it's really like this sense of no wrongness and no judgment.
Yeah.
It's like the presence with, this is what they're choosing, this is the choices that they are making, or someone else is making, this is the choice that I am making, and honoring that, not going into the wrongness of my choices, not going to the rightness of my choices,
Yeah.
and moving beyond, the whole polarity of, did I make the right choice, did I make the
I
wrong
know.
choice, was it good, was it bad, which used to preoccupy me all the time. Like, anything that I did, even with like posting something on Facebook, I would be like then sitting and saying, valuing in it, that was it the right thing to do, was it the wrong
Yeah.
thing. But so it's really like honoring me and the choices that are available to me, and not going to the wrongness of me.
Yeah.
It's like one of the key elements that I get um, from this. And I would
That's-
love to pull out
yeah.
something from the manual as well. So,
Yeah.
what is it for you?
Well, for me, honoring is following my knowing, without going into, is this right, is this wrong? Am I right or am I wrong? Just honoring what I'm aware of, that I'm an aware being, and really following my knowing, following the energy of things. And yeah, I think one of my favorite tools is what's right about me, I'm not getting, and really, it's not about right, it's not about wrong, it's not about me being good, me being bad, or judging anything. Just being aware and present to who I be.
Yeah. And like when we actually go into wrongness is one thing, but when we go into the rightness of it is of a choice, also we start sticking ourselves, right? Because then
Yeah.
there's this whole explanation and justification that's required to keep that choice in place that doesn't allow you to choose anything else.
Yeah.
And where is the freedom of choosing or choice in that? It's like when you choose something, it gives you this awareness, and then you can choose again. So, yeah, so I just wanted to read a bit from the foundation manual, which is to honor, is to treat with regard the other person and yourself. It is to not treat your mate with disrespect. It is to recognize the greatness that someone is, even if you don't want to see it all the time.
Yeah.
It is not to, especially when you don't want to see it, it is not to expect someone to do what you expect them to do. To honor you is to recognize the greatness that you are, even if it's hard for you to see it sometimes. I just love
Yeah.
this, and it goes on, but
I know, exactly. Like honoring like who someone else is, and honoring difference of them. You don't
yeah,
have to be, I mean, yeah, intimacy and relationship is not about having a common platform, but rather like, hey, they are in their space, I'm in my space, and what contribution can that be? And just honoring and letting people be.
yeah. And thank you everyone for joining in, and
Yeah.
who are on FB Live. This is the first time we're doing it, so we are still coordinating all our things around it. But if you have any questions, we've got you on the phone, and go away, or if you comments, or what is honor for
Yeah.
you, and yeah, like this is like 5 elements of intimacy is like one of the key things that started turning this the way. It was like for me, it was like really having that sense and ease with myself,
Yeah.
and getting the sense of, like before you think that you like all your experiences, you start deciding who you are and what you are, and then that is how you interact with others. And but like I was really sensing in my world that it doesn't give me that choice to just show up
Yeah.
as whatever that I require to show up in those 10 seconds. And it's like the more uh, the more I've chosen to step into the intimacy of the elements of intimacy, and choosing the trust, honor, vulnerability, gratitude, and allowance, the more it's homecoming.
Yeah, it's so true. It's like I mean, and none of the elements of intimacy are about sex and copulation, or like like how Ina said, sexual engagement. And what I've noticed is it's like,
Interaction.
yeah, sexual interaction. Okay, bye. So it's like what I started seeing was, the more I started having this honor, trust, vulnerability, gratitude, and allowance for myself, more that those possibilities opened in my relationships with everybody. And so more such people started showing up, and people who are already there. I mean, it's kind of like when you start honoring, trusting, being vulnerable with yourself, being grateful for yourself, and having allowance for you, you actually in a way start to also show the world to a new possibility. Because I don't think a lot of people even know or even aware of having this as a choice in their life. And which is again the beauty of foundation. It's like you actually start making a different choice. It's a lifestyle choice. You start choosing, how to live, and to live differently. So
Yeah, and it becomes easier. It's also like because you're choosing more of you, and you're choosing to really choose stuff that is fun for you, it becomes easier for others, for you to have that space with others as well, that they
yeah,
can choose what they would like to choose, whether that's fun for them or not. It's
yes,
like,
exactly.
I used to be like, what? You're not choosing this, but this is fun. You've got like, how can you not be choosing this? Or like sometimes you like when you see the greatness of someone, including myself, and you get that you can really choose it and they can really choose it. But cool, I'm not really choosing it in these 10 seconds. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
The
choosing to
same
be
thing.
grouchy
It's like,
in 10
yeah,
seconds. Cool.
and honoring others' choices to choose, whatever they choose. And yeah, I quickly want to say, there's so many people who are saying hi here. Hi, Sunita. Hi, Sangeeta. Hi, Kanika. Hi, Radhika. Hi, Supriya. So good to have you here.
Hello.
Hey. So the next one, are we ready to move to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. What do we have? Trust.
Yes. Yes.
Did I mix up the order? I mean, are we
That's cool. I don't think there's any specific order.
Yes.
But like the trust thing was really a biggie for me because, you're like, you like the whole thing of that you can see the greatness that someone can choose, and you can see the greatness that you can choose, and you go into that wanting to give it all. But it's like this whole space of really being present with where someone is functioning from and what they're going to choose and what they're not going to choose, including yourself. I used to judge myself so much, and there was a whole lot of judgment, and then I had created this whole environment around me which sort of kind of pushed that judgment at me at all times, was around time. And as to always be late, I never finished my exams. But I topped in college. That was my story. That was the story I'm telling myself, whatever. But I topped.
You can trust yourself to have a sense of timing.
So when I started trusting myself, I'm going to be late. Okay, cool. Okay, or that time is not, that relevant to me. It started shifting and changing for me to have that allowance for myself and like not going to the wrongness of it, but having choice with it. And now it's so changed that I actually have choice with it. I can choose to be present, and I can choose to be where I want to be when I would like to be. That will create greater. So like the moment, like for years, I've judged myself around that thing of, I'm late. And I have defended it. No, I wasn't late. It was only 5 minutes. No, this happened. No, I got stuck in traffic. Like just removing all of those explanations and justifications that was holding all of that in the story, the judgment that was holding that, and no choice that was holding that in place, and going, okay, cool. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, I get late. Cool. What would I like to choose now? And so it's created that it started introducing me at the speed that I actually be and create more and more.
Yeah.
And how does it get even better?
Yeah, it's so funny because for me, like the biggest thing that I used to do with trust before knowing, what trust really is. The way I used to do trust was, it was not trust, it was expectations. So I would trust someone and it was more of an expectation that I'm expecting them to do something. I'm expecting them to deliver something. Which is really not trust, because trusting is really getting present to what someone is going to do, what someone is capable of doing, and what someone probably would not choose. And so in the same with yourself, like you can trust yourself, but the second you go into you trust yourself from a space of expectation, it starts to create a wonk in your world. So I mean, now it's like I love the way. I mean, earlier I used to have this whole thing like, what's the point of trusting? Because people always betray my trust. And I really started looking at, wow, if people are not betraying my trust, I am really cutting off my awareness of what they are not probably choosing to deliver. It has nothing to do with me trusting them or them probably not honoring me or not honoring me. People are going to pretty much do what's going to work for them. And that's probably what you can trust them to be. Unless they choose to change their way of doing things or being things, that's absolutely your choice. But trusting in a space of expecting and in a space of waiting for them to do something, probably not your smartest choice. So it's like you can trust, like, you can trust people to have a different sense of timing. I can trust myself to do things a certain way, but at the same time, I don't have to trust others to do things exactly like me. they can
Yeah.
be who they are.
And also, like when you hire someone and you've decided that I've hired this person for this thing, and so they're going to deliver
Yeah.
without looking at what's really going on
Yeah.
and what, like the, there's so many things that I can talk about over here, examples like from my life. But there's like this.
You mean the times
like we hired an architect, and
Yeah.
we were like, he is going to be, yay, we got like, when we started the Earth Film again, we hired an architect, the first guy, and we were like, okay, so that means that we will have the drawings ready and all of that stuff. And this, like within like 1 week or 10 days of us going, like, wow, that is not happening. We still don't have the drawings. We really started asking. So when you're present with it, when you're looking at what's really going on, when we hired him, like there are lots of other tools that you can ask. So when we were saying, cool, if we add him to our team and we add him to our business, what would that create? And if we don't add him, what would that create? And adding him was such an expansive yes in our world that when 1 week or 10 days down, we were like, what's really going on here? And so we started asking different questions rather than going into the judgment of him, rather than going into the judgment of a choice of adding him, rather than, to going with, okay, so what are his capacities? What are the strengths? What can he actually deliver? What is it that would be fun for him to create? And that sort of opened up doorways to, he was a connector. He hated sitting in office. He wanted to be all over the place. So he started connecting with the business and connecting with people with the business. So started opening up these possibilities for people to different possibilities that completely changed what he was delivering to a much more expansive possibility than would have created if we had gone into the decision of no, we've hired him for architecture and that's what he has to deliver. So
that's so true. It's like when you start acknowledging what and start getting present to what people are, and then you trust them to be that, you also start getting aware of wow, does this match where I would like to create with them, or can we actually create something else? Then you actually start opening yourselves to, again, possibilities of creating something else with them that has nothing to do with what you expect them to do. And and then the experience really becomes a joyous adventure.
Yeah. So we have, what's up? What's next? Vulnerability.
Awesome.
Thank you, Shruti, for all your comments. We're watching them. Phenomenal awareness. Gratitude. So true. You both cut through and go to the awareness.
And hi, Sudipta, and hi, Yogesh.
Hi, all of you.
So happy to have you here.
So vulnerability.
Something I really did not have before I came to Access. I was like, what? No, I always want to put myself in a shield and I want to protect myself. I mean, there are so many psychic attacks out there. And then I always want to protect myself from all sorts of abuse and everything. So I want to be strong and I want to be a fortress. Oh my God, that was hard work.
That's how much of that is actually, like fed in that information that I remember, like even before Access, like looking at this whole topic of vulnerability, and like there's a whole lot of information on the net and in the world about vulnerability, of how you shouldn't be vulnerable and you should protect, you should have your defense and guards up.
Yes.
Actually, when you're willing to be like an open wound, like really willing to be vulnerable, that's the biggest protection and the greatest protection that you can give yourself. You can provide yourself, because then you can totally be present with what's really going on without a point of view about it, and receive the information and act accordingly, or choose a different, or create something that, from there. So
yeah. And really, would an infinite being really be afraid and would really go for protection, or would an infinite being really have the potency to connect with every molecule out there? And the funny thing is with vulnerability, infinite being. Oh my God, you don't know that?
No, what's that?
Gotta do foundation. Okay. So what if you?
I attend my foundation myself. it's for me, every foundation.
Yeah, you know, our foundations are for ourselves. The infinite being is you and each and every one of you. What if we are not just the body, soul, and mind? What if we are way, 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 way more than that? And what if we are actually being that is not just the molecules, that is also the space between the molecules? And would that is that something, you know, that would look for would ever feel invulnerable, or would that space be something about, it's kind of like how earth, I mean, for me, earth is such a beautiful example of being, you know. Earth does not have any you know, purple shields around it to protect itself from, you know, asteroids or something else, you know, or something. It's just literally like earth is there, I'm here, and I'm going to be, you know. And what if each one of us has that capacity to be, to show up as us? And that's what the tools of vulnerability, you know, create a space for you, whereas you're like, wow, you know, I don't have to protect myself. What if your biggest protection was your awareness, you know? And when you
Love
are vulnerable and you have your barriers that are lowered, I mean, you don't have any barriers, you actually are willing to be aware, then you can make choices based on that awareness. Should I go there? Should I not go there? Is that safe for me? Should I take that bus? Should I take that taxi? I mean, none of this is about protecting yourself. It's about, you know, opening yourself and being aware. And vulnerability, I mean, it's what if that's the potency, you know, that you
Yeah,
would
and you
find.
just talked about barriers down. Like, what if maybe we can give a glimpse of barriers down
Yes.
to everyone online? They're all most of the people who are online right now. You know, Supriya says, "Thank you, Supriya. Trusting explanation is beautiful. Choose to trust to be present. I just realized that I'm a connector."
Oh,
That's
beautiful.
so awesome.
Awesome.
And Sudipta
Awesome.
Pathak says, "Awesome." Thank you guys for joining in. I think there's a time lapse though, but we are getting there.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so what is barriers down? Like, 'cause that completely like changed. Even today, like I can sense it, and the moment I sort of, it just starts shifting. So, would you like to,
Talk about barriers.
yes, barriers down?
Wow. So barriers are these energetic limitations that you've solidified in your world. It could be something of, you know, based on judgments, something based on anything that is from a space of unawareness or unconsciousness. And barriers are these walls that you think are you have raised, you know, to be able to protect yourself. So it's like, one example is like, you know, anytime the being feels threatened or abused, what's the first reaction that we have is like, put your barriers up, and, you know, I don't want to talk to this person ever again. I don't want to go you know, go to that city. I don't want to travel again. I don't want to step outside my house. And does that work? And so it's like we keep putting these layers and layers and layers of barriers. And what do barriers cut out mainly? Of course, they cut out abuse. Yes, that was the initial intent of putting those barriers up. But barriers also cut off your awareness, because these are walls that block off energies. Barriers cut off receiving energies of nurturing, caring. And what do you cut off the most when you do a barrier? If you are truly being an infinite being, when you put a barrier, you create a separation between you. You cut yourself off. So
Yeah.
when we start to talk about lowering our
Which is
barriers,
so amazing. I know you said it very quickly, but I just wanted to touch upon that a bit. It's like brilliant what you just said. Is like that when we are actually, when we think that we are creating these barriers, even the energetic walls sort of that we have, that we are cutting off someone else from it, but actually we're cutting ourselves from it.
us,
Go,
yes,
like adding to what you were talking about being an infinite being, it's like if you
yeah,
just get a sense of quickly, get a sense of like where you are in your body and where get to your body, and now expand out in all directions and fill up this room, fill up your room, and now go beyond that and fill up your colony with space wherever you are, and then go beyond that and expand to the whole of your city, country, and beyond. How much space do you require to occupy to be you?
Yeah.
Oh, if you could sense the shift. It's like we think that we are as small as this body, but we are actually infinite beings. And can an infinite being really be threatened? Can an infinite being be attacked? Yeah, maybe the body. But if you're being more present, if you have your barriers down, then you would know when to act, when to create something, and when not to. And if you haven't, sometimes we don't, we always miss out on our choices. And you go like, how many times, like, if you're anything like me, I'm like, shit, I knew not to do that. I knew not to go there. That's like not listening to your awareness. But when you're actually like, when you're not judging yourself and you're not going to the wrongness of yourself and you're not preoccupied and distracted with all of these things of the right and wrong and the good and bad, then you have total choice and you can be more present and more vulnerable and more space to create.
Yeah. And like how Kanika said, barriers cut out conversation. That's true. Barriers cut out your communication. They cut out any communication, energetic or verbal communication or any kind of communication you have with every molecule.
Which I used to be like, you know, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to sit there and you sit there. Yeah. Now it's more like, okay, what's going on? Being there, being present with it, having a look at it, being the space that's required, lowering down your barriers. And lowering down your barriers is like, you can do it like this, or you can just ask for it. Ask your barriers to go down. Right now, you could do that. So ask your barriers to lower down more. Some of them might require like a bit of pushing. So push them down, push them down. If it's easy and fun for you, you can use your body. Body loves movement. Push down the barriers. And you'll get the sense of where like there are these energetic things that you're not receiving. And actually what barriers do are that they cut off your receiving. They cut off your receiving from everything else, including you and of you. So when you have the barriers on, you're basically not, it's difficult to be present with what's truly going on and more distracted with the other things. So we have gone way beyond 5 elements intimacy.
We're on the next page of Foundation Manual. Or I don't know.
Yeah, we're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to talk about allowance? I guess we are kind of we're talking about all of them in some way or the other. So
yeah.
So
and that's the thing. It's like allowance. You pretty much, you know, it's again the space of when you have to have allowance to be able to honor someone. You have to, and when you're vulnerable enough, you actually have allowance for people. But allowance is sort of like, you know, the energy of being a rock in the stream, and it's not about points of views what you have of the other person. It's not about what points of views you have of you. It's just having everything as an interesting point of view. And oh God, we'll be talking about interesting point of view now.
It's amazing how like these tools are just so amazing and so beautiful. And like the more you sort of use them, it's easier to be them. But it's also like such great reminders to when you're not, right? Like there's so many times like I don't know what's going on. I'm like, shit, what do I do here? And it's like, okay, so what tool do I have, or what question can I use here that will create more?
So, and I mean, and you can't pretty much have allowance without the other 3 elements. I mean, other 4 elements of intimacy. And really, an allowance is about not allowing. Allowance is about let that be, let me be, and also being able to speak up what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Also being able to choose what works for you, what doesn't work for you. It doesn't have to be that you have to be doormat to be in, you know, it's allowance is more of a space of where you're empowering yourself to make a choice, make choices that work for you without any point of view.
Yeah, not be a doormat.
Not be a doormat.
Yeah, but like it's also the like Beautifully put. I guess I'm going to leave it that. But I just want to read again from the manual. With
Yes.
allowance of everything they say or do is just an interesting point of view and has no relationship to you. That's where we stick ourselves. It's like when we sort of start making it about ourselves. You don't have to align and agree with their point of view or resist and react to it. Nor do they have to do this with your points of view. What if you never created your relationships based on what you have in common, but in allowance of everything they are and being grateful for that? Like that is something like this is amazing. Like with in relationships, like how much do we tend to find similar things in similar friends and uh, same-minded people and then the moment we meet someone we start looking at the common things, whereas it's the difference that we be actually that is the beauty of us being together. Even like if you're being the difference, like like it's what you see and the angle that you see it from and what I can see is and the choices that you can make and the choices that I can make are different. So if there is no like if there's allowance of that, what can we create together that is far greater than what we can create apart?
Yeah.
So it's like it's amazing. Like this call, I just want to briefly I posted some random thing on one of the WhatsApp groups, and Shiban was, yes. And then we said, okay, let's do a Zoom chat. And then we said that, okay, we'll do a Zoom chat for a Zoom. And we were looking at what that Zoom would be. And in the meantime, Shivam is like, hey, wait, but how about this? And then we were like,
Yeah.
oh, elements of intimacy. Oh, we could do this. So now we have like a whole series, 1 month of elements of intimacy coming up.
Call.
Sorry,
Yeah.
intimacy month of intimacy and relationship coming up. Like, so the willingness, like there's so much more play. And when you're being that space of interesting point of view, when someone, you don't have to hold on, no, this meeting is about this and we are going to talk about
Yeah.
it. When you're allowance of like, and someone else is giving you some information and saying something, you're like, say more, that's interesting. Okay, where can we go from there? So there's whole lot of possibility and world of possibility that opens up if we are not sticking ourselves with the decisions and the answers and the conclusions that we have decided that what this is about and what we are going to create from here, and then what does that have to look, and then what do we have to create from there.
That's so
So
true. It's like, it's not about my way.
thank you
And
for
it's
being different.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Idea
and
that I have so
we've
much
had
appreciation.
we've had so much fun, and then we're like, oh my god, we still have to talk. Let's do a Zoom call. So, but
And it happened like it got created within minutes. Like it's amazing how like something you'll get an idea, but it sort of channelizes or kicks off something totally different and adds to that. So
Yeah.
the willingness to really, when you're in allowance, you can also see when the energy is shifted or when something has come in to show you another route. And then that whole it
you
never
really
gets
like
to the
you're
problem
willing.
situation that
Yeah,
you have to fix. It's
you're
all
willing to
about
go. Yeah,
possibilities.
your willingness to go wherever the energy is. So you just follow the energy. So it's literally not about sticking to your way or sticking to their way or taking the highway, but it's really about where the energy is going, and you just follow that energy. And then again, that loops back to honoring your knowing
You're
and
no.
honoring the other
Yeah.
person's knowing. And it's just beautiful. Like they are interlinked and everything. And then that's exactly when you start having the adventure of living starts to show up. You start actually celebrating not only your life, you start celebrating your relationships. When you have these elements in your life and relationships. So what do we have for the final one? Great.
Favorite, gratitude.
Awesome.
For
I
good,
love
bad,
that.
and ugly.
Yes, that. It's one thing saying thank you for bringing me flowers today. But it's another saying thank you
you
for
for
being
not
so,
bringing me flowers.
yeah, and
Sorry.
thank you for being so fucking late. Yes. What if you
Yeah.
could have gratitude for everything that's showing up in your life? What if you could have gratitude the way you're showing up? And what if you could have gratitude for the way other person is showing up?
This was like another biggie for me, like, because it was very easy for me to be grateful for the things that I had decided again, which are good. But the ones which again came from the answer and the conclusion of what I think is good, which cuts off like all the other possibilities, like Shivan saying, hey, but what if we do this? And then it goes boom, like to a totally different creation, which is like way bigger than what we were willing to look at. And still, if that was not a conclusion, leave that as well. What can we create, and what would it like to be, and what can we create from here?
Wait a minute. So were you being in question, Nina?
Oh, that.
That.
Okay, that's a totally different call. Or join us join us
the next Facebook Live. That's another thing. Yes, that's it. And or maybe join a foundation class.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of foundation classes that are happening all over India, all over the world. We were kind of highlighting all over India right now because it is the prerequisite. The prerequisite for foundation class, for the Access Consciousness, the foundation class, is Access Bars, which is the entry level, which basically are 32 points on your head, which gently touch, release all the limitations and points of views that are just not relevant to you anymore. And so once that all those points of views and limitations and those emotions and the trauma and the drama sort of starts dissipating and starts really disappearing. I don't know how it works. Give it a shot is what I would say. When you have lesser of those points of view that you've been functioning from, something different can show up. Like a space gets created where like you just wake up one day and say, I don't have that point of view anymore. So maybe I can choose this that I have not been allowing myself to choose all this while. So it is, that's Access Bars. And then Foundation is a 4-day class that is just amazing and brilliant, that with every class that I have attended and facilitated, my life has shifted. Like on the other, it's sort of like you go into the class and you're like, yay, what are we going to do? And then you go into like this, it's like this whole sort of different stuff that you go through. And on the other side, you're like, okay. So you get more of a sense of you. And possibilities that seem so hard and difficult before start becoming available. But it also comes with a manual. And there are lots of certified facilitators who do it. Shivam is one, I'm one. And we will tell you about the classes. We'll also share the link for all the classes that are happening in India, which is the prerequisite for energetic synthesis of being with Dr. Dane Heal, who's coming to India.
Yay! I know, and oh God, talk about a brilliant class. I mean, it's like I was just telling a couple of people today that foundation. When you come to foundation, it's really about you actually come into a space where all your past issues and your past life issues or whatever your existing issues are, you're able to clear them off, or the healing happens, and then your life literally becomes like, wow, now that I have got the healing that I had been like looking for, for last, I don't know how many decades. Now, what can I create in my life? Now, if I don't have any issues to fix, what can I now create
that.
in my life? And you actually get into
exactly. If you get this sense of like, I don't really have issues to.
Yeah.
What can I choose now?
Yeah. Which is funny. And it's like,
I'm going to say what Supriya written. She said, I actually was refusing to open my foundation manual to go through elements of intimacy. And this came up. So gratitude. So thank you, Supriya, because it's like ask and you shall receive. So thank you for asking. We just asked the manual. It was like, okay, we're doing a call on Zoom Zoom FB Live. What would it like to be? And we just picked up the manual and opened it, and that's what it opened on.
So, and we followed the energy.
And then trusting.
Yes, and trusted it, and we were vulnerable.
Yeah, that's what Baz does. Out of thinking.
Yeah, it totally gets you out of thinking. And then, and again, it's like once you start creating your life, that's when it's like classes like energetic synthesis of being that, Dr. Dane is doing in a couple of weeks. They really start to
3rd to 5th Feb.
Yeah, it's from 3rd of February to 5th of February in Mumbai. And these classes really start to get you into a space where you're stepping up into your potencies. Because, hey, remember, you're now in your creative mode. So would you not like to step into your potencies and,
And
what
being,
class
yeah.
and your being? And these are the classes that are literally like how you have food for your body. These classes are literally like, food for your being. It's the nurturing, caring, and the unlocking of the potencies that are really unique to each one of you. So, what is your being looking for?
For me, like the first energetic senses of being that I attended was also like this. I knew the concept of being,
Yeah.
but I got like, it was like on the other side of the class, I stepped into it. Like the doing also, like the actions that are required, but also not from like the thing of a to-do list. It was from being present. And it was like really like the whole thing of flowing into like it really became smooth.
Yeah. I did not even like to say the words energetic synthesis of being together before I came into the ESB, the short form class. So I just kept calling it ESB. And then as I'm walking to the first day of my class, which was in Munich, and it was a very, very cold morning. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm sorry. What the bleep is energetic synthesis of being? And that was my question. And really what really started to show up for me was literally like, oh my God, time, if that is a construct of this reality and not really true for the being, so where am I living, and what if I could start living in a space that is beyond time without any past, present, and future? And if you are beyond past, present, and future, then where have you decided that the potencies that you've had in your past or in your previous lifetimes, or the potencies that are going to show up in your future, can actually all of that not be here in the now? So what if now is not about being in this right minute? What if being present and being in the now was actually be you, the being beyond time?
Which is also like, that's also, and it's also like, because like how it's done in this reality in the world right now is like that you do something and then you judge so you can become better, and then you judge yourself and then you add more people to judge you so you can become better, and
Yeah,
then
and
you
then you make a mistake, and then you make a wrong choice, and then you judge.
so it's really about learning from your mistakes, which is not true, people. It is not true. It is actually choice creates. When you choose something, you get an awareness of what that choice is creating, and then you can choose different, or you can choose the same thing, looking at what sometimes you choose the same thing, sometimes you choose something different. And so anything that's not shifting or changing is where you're judging yourself, really.
Yeah. And
So
you're getting away from the elements of intimacy, and you
hi Seema.
yeah. And what if, again, like, did we kind of, I'm wondering, there are two places, two things that we kind of digress
Only
from.
two?
One was, yeah, I think so, the main ones. One is gratitude, and then the other one is foundation. Can I just quickly announce the foundation classes, because I have that
Please
page
do.
open now.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's like, so we have amazing facilitators all over India who are doing foundation classes. Anjali Chandrasekhar is doing from 29 January in Mumbai. 29, yes, starting 29 January. Nitya Chalam is doing starting January 23rd from Bangalore. And Anjali Chawla is doing starting 26 Jan in New Delhi. Jimli Bora is doing a foundation starting 29th January in Bangalore. Shivam Saxena, me, is doing a foundation in Mumbai starting January 24th. Ina, what are your dates?
Mine are, good question, 25th to 28th of this month. So next, yeah.
In New Delhi.
It's coming up, people, in Greater Noida.
Awesome, in Greater Noida. And then
I'm pulling people to Greater Noida. Come on, people. Maybe we can put in like a visit to the spa. Come on, there's an awesome spa, Six Senses here.
Exactly. What are you missing? And Aditi Iyer is doing in Chennai foundation class starting from 27th of January. Smriti Goswami is doing a class in Mumbai starting 29th January. And I know Smriti Shivdasani is also doing a class starting 25th of January in Mumbai as well. So, hey, what are you guys waiting for?
Yes, and we will share this link as well. If this creates a lightness in your world, if you get this kid, like, what do you desire for your life to be like, and what you desire to create, and if you get like, and pick a class near you, or pick a facilitator who actually calls out to you, and choose it. And we hope to see you soon in one of these classes. And I just wanted to quickly also touch upon the thing about, maybe not. It was a yummy nest around the foundation.
Oh no, you had me curious. You had me there.
I don't think we're going to tell them on this call.
No. You want to know more? Come to foundation class. And Anjali Chawla, thank you for joining us, and thank you, Seema Madan, for your wonderful compliment.
All of you, thank you so much for hopping on, and yumminess. And we'll see you guys soon. For everyone on the planet seen the video who is live with us, thank you. Everyone who's going to ever watch this video in the future, thank you. Thank you for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being.
Thank you so much for being there. Thank you.